Is Freedom24 worth it? Are they a good and reputable broker, especially with their big bonus promotions that they offer here? Over the past year and a half, I've invested approximately 48,000 euros here in stocks, ETFs, and more. To find out, and in this video, I'll show you everything you need to know about Freedom24, how much it has all cost me down to the last euro, and for whom it is worth it and for whom it is not. And with that, welcome to Northern Finance. My name is Alex Black. Yes, Freedom24 is a new broker in Europe that I visited in Cyprus, where I've invested the most. Freedom24 is shaking up the market with bonus promotions for investors, offering bonuses from 79 to 529 euros. Freedom is interesting as a broker because they are really shaking up the market here. It has to be said. This is not only due to the bonus promotions that are very advantageous for investors, which keep cropping up and are sometimes extended, where you get a median bonus of between 79 and 529 euros, and on average even significantly more. And of course, it certainly depends on how much you absolutely invest here, which without a doubt no other broker in all of Europe offers you. We'll get into more in the bonus section coming up. You can easily jump to the chapters in the video bar. You can, and this is the most important thing for me, trade more than 40,000 stocks worldwide and 1,500 ETFs across 15 trading venues. That's really very nice and also very affordable at the same time. Including US ETFs, which no other broker offers. Very interesting, I think, extremely interesting. Criticism of Freedom24 exists. I've invested 48,000 euros here. The main criticism is that the broker is based in Cyprus, not Germany. Freedom24 is in Cyprus, monitored by CySec under the European Central Bank. And the biggest point of criticism is that the broker is not based in Germany, but in Cyprus, which makes some people question whether they can trust it. Freedom24 is based in Cyprus, that's true, and they are also monitored by the Cypriot financial authority CySec, which is directly under the European Central Bank. They are also registered with the German BaFin, as they also advertise for customers here and have an office in Berlin. And the most important thing for me is that Freedom24 stock is listed on the Nasdaq in New York, which means that the American SEC, such as the Securities and Exchange Commission, also oversees Freedom Holding. And I can tell you they really pay close attention to whether everything is running correctly or not. The regulation by the Cypriot Financial Authority also ensures that your entire cash balance is 100% secured up to 20,000 euros. And if you invest in stocks, ETFs, and more, they are treated as special assets just like with any other broker in Europe, and they are 100% your property, no matter what happens, which is also clearly stated in the terms and conditions in points 18.2 and 18.4. Feel free to hit pause to take your time with this. Freedom24 is a huge company with more than 1,000 employees worldwide, about 170 of whom work in the metropolis of Limassol in Cyprus, where I also visited them in person last summer, and here they have their headquarters in Europe. There, I also interviewed the head of sales who answered questions about the owner's goals, connections to Russia, and costs. The entire interview is divided into chapters and linked in the video description if you're interested. Personally, I don't absolutely worry about my investments and indeed their legitimacy, because Freedom is undoubtedly monitored by numerous regulatory authorities. They also have successful operations abroad, for example in Kazakhstan, where they originally come from and are the leading online broker. And now they want to expand significantly in Europe, investing money for that purpose. And soon they also want to obtain an EU banking license, which the founder of Freedom Holding describes in a recently released interview. By talking about a super app, he means that stocks, loans, and insurance should be easily and quickly accessible to users. The stock market also appreciates the company's growth and profitability. The stock has increased by almost 700% in the last 5 years and is now worth more than $7 billion, which is a very good sign. On Trustpilot, they have 3.6 out of 5 stars, which is okay, but it could be a bit better. But for comparison, Scalable Capital has 3.2 stars and Smart Broker Plus only has 2.4. Personally, the support has always responded quickly for me, and I haven't had any problems after a year and a half of using it and buying numerous ETFs and stocks. Let's briefly talk about this experience and just buy some stocks. To do this, we first log in and then see this screen where we select the trading account with 47,406 euros. Then we click on profile, and here we can see my net worth again and the profit of about 3,000 euros. Here on the right, we see the portfolio structure, which mainly consists of ETFs and a position of just over 10,000 euros in cash. If we click on that, we see the entire donut chart, and further down, all open positions are displayed again as a list. If I want to invest these 10,000 euros, for example, in a US stock, I need to exchange my money into US dollars. To do this, I just click up here on the right and then on currency exchange, open a security session, which is what it's called. So two-factor authentication, select my currency pair, and I get the same rate that is also shown on Google itself. After I've exchanged my money here, I can enter the ticker symbol, for example, for the MicroStrategy stock, which is quite volatile. Then I also get the order form directly on the right and enter my limit, which is the maximum amount I want to pay. Then I set the number of shares or press max, and the total order amount is displayed here for me. Then I simply click on place order and confirm it again, and just like that, it's all done. Up here, I get a small confirmation that the purchase has been completed, and right after that, I can click on the transaction here and see that the fee calculation is in progress. A few seconds later, I see that I've only just paid 2.27 euro in fees, which is really nothing compared to the volume here, with costs of just 0.02%. So it's really very low. Whether the stock is cheap is a completely different question, probably not, but only time will tell with the current fluctuations, which are quite strong. The fact is, the fees are incredibly low, and that's what matters to me in this example. Here you can also see the exact breakdown of the costs when trading. I'm using the Smart Plan, and I only pay 2 cents per share for stocks and ETFs, options, and so on, such as ING, and 2 euro or dollars per order. For example, this is a great deal. In Asia, it costs a bit more, and here is some more information, but everything is really easy to understand. Looking back at my ETF purchases in November, we can see here approximately 230 euro and 2.92 euro for my MSCI World and Emerging Markets ETFs, respectively. In total, overall, you can trade stocks and ETFs very cheaply at Freedom24. Currently, there are no savings plans available here, but since these often incur fees of 0.5% to even 2.5% on executions, as seen in this Reddit post, the spread for the savings plan at Trade Republic for the DHL stock, for example, was 1.5%. It might be better to buy individually to get more value. This spread is not shown to you as a cost, but you still pay the price difference, of course. That's why, in my opinion, I prefer to buy manually with my amounts, and personally speaking, honestly, I don't want to pay too much. So to be frank, I just pay a fixed fee of 2.20 euro, for instance, and I know that all the costs are included, which I can actually see right in front of me, clearly visible. This way, I have everything transparent, and it works better for me personally. You can easily download all transactions as an Excel file here, and we can see the fees I've paid since opening the account, which amount to $54, corresponding to 0.1% of the account value of $48,000. Let's move on to the bonus before we discuss the pros and cons. Currently, as mentioned at the beginning, you receive between 79 and 529 on average in free stocks, depending on how much you deposit. On average, it can actually be significantly more. As you can clearly observe, you can see the free stocks in the overview here, and furthermore, the more you invest, the larger the number of free stocks you absolutely receive, which are distributed in a completely random manner. The promotion is limited until year end. If you're watching later, check the description for bonuses. I've received free stocks in a promotion for existing customers like $25. I have also received free stocks in a promotion for existing customers. These come up occasionally from time to time, and I got $25 easily just like that without any hassle. I then turned the stocks into cash away, and it went smoothly with ING, so now I can save a little bit on order fees or simply invest more. Let's move on to the pros and cons, starting with the cons, just a little more. First of all, Freedom24 is based abroad, so you have to handle your own taxes on your profits. This isn't done automatically without any intervention. When you sell a stock or an ETF for a profit, you have to report the gains yourself in your tax return. Some say that's actually an advantage since you can work with the money until you transfer it to the tax office, but that's a matter of interpretation. Secondly, the translation isn't always perfectly done, but in my opinion, it's manageable and not a big issue. Thirdly, you have to pay $7 for each withdrawal. That really should change. Yes, that's really not nice, but that's just the way it is right now, and it needs to be mentioned. And lastly, participating in a general meeting costs $250, which is way too much and effectively prevents you from exercising your rights as a shareholder for a year, which I don't think is good. But this might be because you can also trade very exotic stocks here, for example, from Kazakhstan, where the administrative costs can be significantly higher. And now let's move on to the advantages. In addition to trading US ETFs, which is really a big positive exception among European brokers, many investors were also spared from worse outcomes if they had invested in Russian stocks in recent years. After the Russia-Ukraine war, stocks became untradeable in Europe due to sanctions. Freedom24 supported converting ADRs into original shares, allowing investors to sell stocks, unlike with ING, where opening a Russian account was necessary. Only Freedom24 indeed actively supported investors in converting their ADRs into original shares, which was also covered in this article, and it was very successful. This way, at least you could sell the stocks or keep them and continue to receive dividends instead of being stuck with frozen stocks and dividends that you couldn't do anything with, like with ING or many other brokers, where you would have to independently open a Russian account, which most people obviously can't do due to the language barrier. This ties into the next point about the good support, because if you want, you even have a personal contact person here, which you won't find with any other broker at such a low cost. German customers have German contacts, Spanish customers have Spanish contacts, Greek customers have Greek contacts, and so on. What I mean is that you really get value for your money here. And as the last major advantage, you can trade stocks and ETFs here very cheaply for just 2 to 3 euros, even in really high volumes, as I've shown. This makes it particularly attractive for investors with larger portfolios and higher monthly purchases compared to savings plans at many other brokers. You can really save a lot of money here. Let's wrap it up with a conclusion. Freedom24 is a new broker that offers a lot of service and a wide selection with 40,000 stocks, 1,500 ETFs, and many other financial instruments. You can trade here really very cheaply. I just paid $54 to build a $48,000 portfolio. That's approximately 0.1% in costs, and I really think it should be like that for investors. So we can trade cheaply worldwide with a lot of service, and especially if you invest more, Freedom is an interesting broker in my opinion. On the other hand, it might not be so suitable for beginners, as the selection here can be a bit overwhelming and you have more personal responsibility than usual, like with taxes, which you have to handle yourself. But on the plus side, you get to keep the money in your pocket longer. It really depends on you and what you personally prefer. If you want to invest here, click the link in the description below and you'll get free stocks worth between $79 and $529 on average. I will, of course, continue to invest and keep you updated on my investments. To not miss out, give me a like and subscribe, and let me know your opinion on Freedom24 in the comments below. So I wish you a good return and see you next time.